we are going to be reviewing the scientific method, the method that scientists use in order to solve problems in our natural world. We've learned in the past few days that the scientific method has steps that you need to follow in a specific order. First of all, you need to make an observation about your world. You need to observe matter. You need to observe nature. You need to come up with some type of a question you want to ask in order to test it. Next, you need to come up with a hypothesis. Our hypothesis was a guess or a prediction about what you think is going to happen when you experiment. Then you come up with a plan or a procedure, step by step, what you do in your experiment. You must follow step-by-step directions so that the next person that comes behind you in order to do the experiment knows exactly what steps they are to follow. Next, you do your experiment. You actually do a hands-on lab. Finally, you draw conclusions based on the data or the information that you get from your experiment. Today, we're going to be taking these steps that we've been learning about, and we're actually going to do a scientific experiment to come up with an answer to a question. In front of you, you'll see that you all have partners. Each set of partners has two cups, two plastic cups. One has a W for water, and one has an S for Sprite. We are going to determine, will Sprite or water make Alka-Seltzer tablets dissolve quicker? We're going to walk through each of these steps with the note-taking sheet that you have, and we are going to come up with data to form a conclusion on which one makes the Alka-Seltzer dissolve quicker. So the first thing we need to do is come up with our hypothesis. Remember, your hypothesis is a suggested answer, a suggested solution to the question we're asking. It must be testable. And it predicts an outcome, what you think is going to happen. So, on your note-taking sheet, go ahead and write your hypothesis. As you can see, your question has already been filled out for you. Will Alka-Seltzer dissolve quicker in water or in Sprite? Now you need to form your hypothesis. I hypothesize that what will dissolve the Alka-Seltzer quicker. And that spot where I have the line drawn is where you need to make your prediction. Do you think it will be the water, or do you think it will be the Sprite? Go ahead and take 2 minutes to write down your hypothesis. Scientific method is to create a plan. It is a procedure in order to test your hypothesis. You need step-by-step instructions that are easy to follow. On your paper, I have already given you a procedure so that we're all doing it the same way. I will be doing one trial, and each of you will be doing 2 more trials the same exact way, using the same steps. So, with your partner, go ahead and read over the procedure I have given you. Make sure you understand it. Make sure you understand what order the steps need to come in so that when we experiment, there are no mistakes. Go ahead and take 2 minutes and read over the procedure in front of you. to experiment. Your experiment needs to have experiment. We have water, Sprite, Alka-Seltzer tablets. What is the one thing we're changing? We are changing the type of liquid we're using. Water and Sprite. Our liquid is our variable. Okay? One more thing you need to remember when you are experimenting is that you need several trials. A trial is each time you do the experiment over. It is smart to have at least 3 trials so that you know your information is accurate. I will be doing one set, and each partner pair will provide us with additional data so we can compare everyone's times to make sure we are all accurate. Okay? We are now going to experiment and gather data. The data we are going to gather is the amount of time it takes for the Alka-Seltzer to dissolve in water and in Sprite. I'm going to be using a timer on my phone for mine. Each of you have your own personal timers when it comes time for you to do your experiment on your own. First you're going to watch and I'm going to model, and then you will be doing your own. Okay? I got my stopwatch ready. I'm also going to prepare my paper. I have my chart ready. I have a column for water and a column for Sprite. You notice I have room for 3 trials. The first will be my trial, and then I will take 2 other groups' times to add to my chart. One for water, one for Sprite. I'm going to start with water. I'm going to open up the Alka-Seltzer tablet. Carefully bring it out so that we don't break. Okay, there's another one in here for your second liquid. Going to make sure my stopwatch is ready. As soon as I drop it in, I'm going to press start, and I will know when to stop the timer when the Alka-Seltzer tablet is completely dissolved. There are no chunks, there are no floating materials, it is completely 100% dissolved. And then we will write our time on our data chart. I'm starting with water. So you're going to look for the cup that has the W to make sure you are accurate. Ready, set, go. And my timer has begun. As you are watching it dissolve, you are going to look and observe at what's going on. You hear the fizzling. You hear the bubbles coming out. I see lots and lots and lots of bubbles coming rising to the top in the form of a gas. At the bottom is where the Alka-Seltzer was dissolving, but just recently it plummeted toward the top, and it seems to be getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Almost done. Got a couple more pieces still in there. All right, stop. My timer is stopped at 44 seconds. So, on my chart, I'm going to write 44 seconds. Then I'm going to reset, starting back at 0. And I'm going to come back over and now do my first trial with my Sprite. Double check your cups, make sure you haven't gotten them mixed up. Your Sprite should have an S on the front of it. My second Alka-Seltzer tab, same exact procedure. I'm going to repeat steps 1 through 3 with Sprite. So I'm going to drop the Alka-Seltzer in and time it. Ready, set, go. Seems a lot louder this time around. There seems to be more noise, more bubbles, more gas rising. It seems to be dissolving a lot at a quicker rate. Alka-Seltzer is very small right now. And we're getting close. Stop. All right, 27 seconds is what my timer said. So, based on my trial, which one dissolved the Alka-Seltzer quicker, the Sprite or the water? Exactly. The Sprite definitely dissolved it quicker, almost in half. However, I don't know that my results are completely accurate because I only did one trial. Instead of me doing all 3 trials today, each of your groups are now going to do another trial. And then we'll compile all of our results to fill in our times. Okay? Each of you have a water cup and a Sprite cup. You also have 2 Alka-Seltzer. You are going to first do your trial with water. Write down your time. Second, do your trial with Sprite. Write down your time. And then we'll all come back together in about 5 minutes and we will write down some other times so that we can make sure our experiment was accurate. Go ahead and test. During this time, each of the groups would be performing their independent trial on dissolving the Alka-Seltzer in water. After this, if there was actually a class of students, we would come back together and we would write down each other's times for trial 2 and trial 3 and have a discussion at that point whether or not the Alka-Seltzer or the Sprite dissolved the water quicker. All right, class. Now that we have compiled our data and we all have it written on a chart in an organized fashion, we may now go ahead and go to our last step, which is to make a conclusion. Based on the data we have collected on our lab sheet, you should now be able to decide the answer to your question. Our question was, will water or Sprite cause Alka-Seltzer to dissolve quicker? Well, looking at our chart, we're able to decide, well, which one had the fewer amount of seconds. The liquid that had the fewer amount of seconds is the liquid that dissolved the Alka-Seltzer quicker. So, your last step and your scientific method and on your note-taking sheet is to independently, by yourself, without your partner, just your own brain, fill in your bottom box, your conclusion. Based on your data, what are you able to conclude? What answer can you come up with? Keep in mind what our question was. Our original question was, will Alka-Seltzer dissolve quicker in Sprite or in water? When you're writing your conclusion, make sure that you not only answer the question, but also back it up with proof or your data.